Hi guys, welcome to Fishing 101. The intention of this video is to show you how to start fishing. I have received many messages from men, women, mums and dads who have never fished before. So I am going to keep this video very simple and I will take you through the steps that you need to undertake so that you will be able to start fishing. And I will show you exactly what you need to start fishing. Kindly share and don't forget to subscribe. Make your way down to your local South African post office to collect and fill in a recreational fishing permit. Let's take a closer look at the recreational fishing permit. So we have two options. We have an annual option or a monthly option. I would recommend the annual option. The recreational fishing permit is managed by the Department of Forestry, Fisheries and the Environment. You can visit their website at www.dffe.gov.za. Please make sure to understand that this fishing permit is governed by an act. Please ensure that you fill your personal details, you fill your residential details. This would be your fishing permit number. Fill your language preference, and for starters, all you would need to do is to cross the box number 1 marked angling. That would be for beginner fishermen, where you purchase your rod, your reel, your tackle, and you buy bait from bait shops. Please make sure that you read the notes and understand the permit conditions, because there are size limits to fish that is caught, which I will discuss further in this video. And there are also bag limits to the amount of fish that you can catch. Sign the bottom, date, and the post office will stamp it for you. So that would be your annual recreational fishing permit. Taking a closer look at the South African Virtual Post Office website, which is www.virtualpostoffice.co.za, you would find that under the fishing permit counter, the annual angling price is 76 Rand. You can confirm that with your local post office. Please make sure that you carry your recreational fishing permit at all times when fishing, so that if a government official ever requests to see your license, they can validate it against your ID document or your driver's license. At this stage, we will only be focusing on item 1, which is angling. We are ignoring items 2 to 14, which is more for the experienced individuals. Taking a closer look online, in Durban, we have the South African Association for Marine Biological Research. They are based at the Point Waterfront in Durban. They have put together a document, Marine Recreational Fishing Regulations in South Africa. So basically this document is a summary of the regulations that apply to recreational fishing in South Africa's marine and estuarine environments. For more information, it's best to visit the Department of Forestry and Fishery and Environment website. I urge you to please visit this website, download the document. They have information on how to measure your catch, general regulations, prohibited fish species list. No person shall catch, land, or be in possession of any of the species listed on the prohibited species list. So basically, we are not allowed to catch all the fish listed on this table. However, should you inadvertently catch any of these species, it must be returned to the sea with as little harm as possible. So, as an angler, we are not sure exactly what fish is around in the ocean and what's going to take the bait. So if you had to catch any of these, it must be released. Permitted fish species list. The holder of a recreational fishing permit may fish for and be in possession of a species on the permitted species list, subject to size, bag, and close season limitations. So I urge you to read this section and familiarize yourself with the fish listed in this table. Be sure to check the type of fish against the minimum size and the daily bag limit. For example, the most common rockfish is blacktail. The minimum size is 20 centimeters. The daily bag limit is 5. Please go through this table and Google all of the different species so that you know exactly what they look like. So if you happen to catch any of these as a beginning angler, there's no telling what you would catch, because there are many types of species that hide in the rocks after spawning. The beginners generally fish very close to the shore or in small little holes on the rocks. Let's take a look at closed season. The most common fish caught on the Durban coastline is shad. Shad's closed season is 1st of October to the 30th of November when they are spawning. So you're not allowed to catch this fish between those dates and on those dates. For the rest of the year, the season is open and the minimum size is 30 centimeters and the daily bag limit is 4. There are other species listed on this table. Please read and familiarize yourself with them. I urge all new anglers to please visit Google and search for fish size and bag limits in South Africa. The second search that comes up brings us to the document that we just had a look at. So I urge you to please download this document and read it. Make your way down to your local fish and tackle shop and purchase a rod and reel combo. The most common fishing reel is a spinning reel. It is commonly known as a coffee grinder in South Africa. Taking a closer look at the fishing rods displayed, the green colored rod is an 8-foot rod. I purchased the rod and reel in 2014 and I paid 200 Rand at a local fish and tackle shop in Margate on a local fishing trip. In January 2022, I took a drive to a local fish and tackle shop in Durban, and I purchased the silver rod and reel as a combo for 260 Rand. I would recommend that the beginners purchase a rod and reel combo. It comes with line, it's basic, and it's good enough to start fishing. As you get experience, then you can look for a specific reel and a specific rod that would be to your comfort. Taking a closer look at fishing tackle. Firstly, there's a hook, there's a swivel, there's a bead, and there's a sinker. I personally fish with a 1/0 hook. If you walk into a fish and tackle shop, you would find hooks that are 1/0 and smaller, 1/0 and bigger. I fish with hooks from 1/0 all the way to 6/0. The bigger the hook, the larger the mouth of the fish. The smaller the hook, the smaller the mouth of the fish. So for beginners, I would recommend that you fish with a 1/0 hook or smaller. For swivels, I personally use a number 2 swivel because it's easy to thread the line. There are much smaller swivels, but for those that are visually impaired and use spectacles, it gets quite difficult when you're on the beach. So personally, these swivels are the best for me. I can easily thread the line through and I can tie the knot. A bead. You don't have to use a bead. Rock fishing is common with a bead. Surf fishing is common with a bead. A bead is only used to attract a fish. There are many other types of beads. There are yellow beads, green beads, red beads. You would find a whole lot of different beads at your fish and tackle shop. A sinker. The green rod that I showed you guys is an 8-foot rod. The maximum sinker that rod can use is a 2-ounce sinker. You get 2-ounce and lighter all the way to 1/2 ounce, and you get 2-ounce and heavier. So at the local fishing shop that I purchase my sinkers, I have seen all the way up to 10-ounce for surf fishing, and it gets heavier for deep sea. So personally, I fish from a 2-ounce all the way to a 6-ounce, and I will be upping my game soon and moving over to a 8 or 9-ounce. So for beginners, I would recommend that you buy sinkers from a 2-ounce and lower, because the beginner rods would use very light sinkers. I personally use a 2-ounce sinker on my green rod because it helps to keep my bait in one position when I'm fishing on the surf. When I'm fishing on the rocks, I use a lighter sinker, and you get different shapes of sinkers. So be sure to have a look at the tackle at your local fishing shop. These are the bare minimum items that you will need to make a trace. So let's make a trace. Before we make a fishing trace, I would like to stress that fishing tackle is very dangerous to children and to pets. Especially the hooks, the swivels, and the beads. These are items that can be swallowed by children. Very dangerous. When we come back from the beach, it's often that the hooks don't get cleaned. So what happens is that the pets smell the bait and they bite the hook. So please make sure that you store all your fishing tackle in a tackle bag, and when you come back from fishing, please make sure that you take your hooks and you keep it in a container. You cut your swivels off the line into a container, and the bead goes into the container, and the sinker goes back into your tackle bag. Once these are in a container, you can keep them in a safe place out of reach where pets and children cannot reach it, and you can clean it in your own time. When you purchase your rod and reel, the reel would come with fishing line. You get different breaking strengths of fishing line, but for beginners, the line that comes in the reel is fine. It's probably a 7 or 10 pound line, so don't stress. As you fish, you would learn about the different strengths of line, and you would better your fishing thereafter. So you can use line from your reel to make a trace. It's not a train smash, because generally the line that comes with the reel is seen as cheap line. So use the line to make a trace. You have probably around 100-150 meters of line here, but you'll only be casting 20 to 30 meters or even 10 meters in. So use the line as much as you need to. When you fish around the rocks, it's guaranteed that you will get stuck with the sinker, or your hook would get stuck. And when you are forced to, you would have to cut the line. So the line doesn't last very long, and you will eventually refill the line. Line is not very expensive for small reels, so don't stress. Use the line that came with the reel. So let's make a trace. I've cut off a piece of line with no specific length that I will be using to make a trace. So first steps is that we need to lubricate about that much of the line, and the most simplest form of lubricating is saliva. So if the line is clean, you can use your mouth. Take your hook, thread your line through, and I'm going to show you the knot that I've been using, that my dad showed me when I was young, and I only fish with this knot. There's nothing wrong with it. It held the stingray that broke off my hook. I've caught sharks with it. I've caught many other fish with it. So you guys are most welcome to use any knot that you like. I'm just going to show you the knot that I use. So basically, you thread your line through the hook like that. You hold the tail end. I'd like to leave a bit of slack. So I push the tail end below the main line, and I start wrapping, and I hold a loop. 1, 2, 3, 4. I push it through the loop, and I pull on the tail end and the main line, but I generally use my teeth to hold the tail end. So when you pull on the tail end and the main line, pull that section on your strongest tooth and the main line and pull it together, you get this beautiful knot. That's good enough. Never let me down. So cut off the tail end, and choose a length for your hook line. 100, 200, 250. That's fine. Cut off the line on this side. Thread your bead through the line so that it looks like this. Take a swivel and tie the other end to the swivel. The same knot, tail end under, loop, 1, 2, 3, 4, tail end through the loop, and pull on the tail end and main line. I'm alone, so I'm just going to use my teeth. There we go. You just have to pull the 2 lines and you get that knot. That's good enough. Cut off the tail end. So you've got your hook line made, and your bead is meant to run like that. So when you tie your bait onto the hook and your bead sits above the bait. Hook line is done. Cut another piece of line. Take the piece of line. There's no specific length. As you get better, you'll learn not to waste line, but for a beginner, don't stress. Cut the line that you need, learn, and you'll get there. Take the line and loop the line about 100, 120, 150. 120, 150 is a bit much, so let's just keep it 100, 120 there. So what you do is you hold the line, the tail end and the line together, and you twist. However many times you want to. I'm just going to go that much. There's no specific number of times because we're going to make a loop for the sinker, and the more the better. It's because when you get stuck, the knot breaks first and your sinker line breaks first. So hopefully when you get stuck, the sinker gets stuck in the rock, breaks off the line, and your hook line still comes out with the fish. So twist it as many times as you can and make a granny knot. Just a simple knot. Just a simple knot. Pull it together and that gives you a loop. Cut off the tail end. Here's your loop, guys. Take this loop, take your sinker and thread this loop through your sinker. So your sinker is free running. And then take the loop and go over the sinker. So push the sinker through the loop. And that's what it looks like. When you pull, your line's firm against the sinker. Here. So that's your sinker. What this loop does is it gives you flexibility to remove the sinker if you want to, like that, so that you can change the sinker. If you want to change it to another shape, you want to change it to a lighter weight or a heavier weight, create the loop, push the sinker through, done. If ever you get stuck, this knot's going to break first. Make the granny knot. This will be stuck in a rock. And when you pull, it's going to break there. So I'm going to show you how to make a running trace where the sinker runs on the main line and the main line is hooked to your hook line. So the sinker would effectively run like that. And if the sinker breaks off, your main line with the fish still comes back out. So guys, length, we need the sinker to be about that long, nothing specific. It's gonna work. So tie your swivel on. Let's tie the swivel. The sinker onto the swivel. We have a single hook running trace. So effectively, this is what we would do. I'm going to show you how to thread the line from the reel into the rod, through the eyes, and bring the line like this. That's your line. Once it's threaded through the rod eye, take your sinker, thread your line so that your sinker is running. I fish with a running trace. You don't have to. You can fish with a 3-way swivel so that you tie your sinker and your hook line onto it. And I tie the hook line onto the main line. The sinker is going to run like that. So if the sinker breaks off, the main line brings back the hook, the bait, or the hook and the fish.